Hope everyone can hear me well and can see my screen. So,
Yes,
good
we do.
evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are. First of all, thank you, Test Tribe, for this wonderful opportunity and a very, very unique idea. Um, what an unique idea, right? To talk about failures. It's like a simple concept that you learn more from your failures or mistakes. So when I'm trying to put together my thoughts, when like 3 weeks back, when I'm preparing my slides, I was like listing down the failures, like what did I do? It's a long journey, so there are a lot of things that came up. There's a big list. I can pick one or two and say like, oh, we failed in this framework, this tool, this process. Instead, what I thought was like I'll segregate them into different stages and list a few. That way, I can cover a bit more. That's what I thought. So let's start our session now. Um, so a little bit about me. Why I'll tell you why I have listed this here. So I've been in the industry more than 2 decades now. Um, Started like a lot of things changed from last 21 years, right? Ajay talked about Silk. Before Silk, there is Winrunner. Ajay, I know about Silk. I worked in Silk. So that's when I started. And before that, there are no tools. Actually, that's when I started. There are no UI tools, testing tools, and then Winrunner came in. Winrunner, Perl, Silk, those are the most popular at that time. And lot has changed now. The new generation now they don't hear about these tools anymore. A lot of things changed, so we have to change according to times. So that's why I mentioned each of this is like worked in different companies. Startups will have a different challenge. uh, a big company where there's a lot of process will have different challenges. If you don't adapt to it, you will fail. You need to understand how to work around with the whole process around or no process around. I have seen those things. I did my mistakes, my failures, all those. Worked in different countries. There are different cultures, ways of doing things, ways of thinking, ways of communicating. Communicating, that's the most important part, right? If you don't understand the other person, you do a lot of mistakes. Ajay again had kept that. Communication is the main part of it. Worked with different managers. Each one brings in a different perspective, different style. Uh, they want things in a specific way. So that teaches you a lot. That I learned a lot from a lot of good leaders that I worked with. Different roles Lalit just mentioned. That helps you to think from that perspective and different titles. So I'll tell you my things from all this, like my failures, what I have seen with my colleagues, my team. It's a mix of everything. It's a mix of what I have seen. Okay. So if I have to broadly categorize like first 10, 15 years, this is how it will be, right? Of the career. I just limited to this because was just giving 23 minutes, the total. Initially, you'll start your career, you just come out of your college, you try to explore things, try out new things, lot of new things. Um, and then you gain you know what are your interests, you'll understand your strengths, and you establish yourself. Okay, Srini is this or Mahesh is this. Everyone knows you by your strengths, and then you will elevate upon those things. You'll become like a master, a guru of some of those things. And finally, there is like a completely different stage, like where you have to enable others, make others successful, make the whole team successful. That's a completely different stage. You need to do a complete switch. If not, it's like a complete disaster, failure. So I'll talk about each of this. The first, like what are the triads for each of this stage, and what are some of the failures. And every failure comes with a denial also. It like feel good things, and some tips across. If you don't give the tips, if I just mention the failures, again you have to experience it to go around. So a little tips around the failures also, right? Um, Starting with the first one, freshers curiosity concept. So we are like will come fresh out of college, a lot of curiosity. So this is where you should try to learn as much as possible, right? You will look at all things. College, what we learn in college is very different from what you experience. Colleges teach you very little about the real life things. Hope it's changing now. At my time, there was nothing. There is no comparison between what I learned in college and what I started in my career. You have to get into all the concepts, trying to understand like databases, web concepts, application servers, cloud, all those things, right? Ready to take up anything, jump into things. These are some of the triads. This is where you can learn. This stays throughout your life. What you learn here, it's very easy to learn. You have that, you're like very young, and it's like very, very easy to jump. So I'll tell you like how to utilize this time where I failed and things. So let's look at failures here and denials that comes with that. Scratching the surface, I did that many times. I see that in many right now, like many most lot of them that I talk to, that I notice. We still scratch the surface. That's because we are afraid of few things. Ajay mentioned about Active Directory. That's like when you have to configure Active Directory or SAML or some authentication system. They're complex. It's not straightforward. If you don't have any help from IT or some others, that's where you say like, okay, I don't have to do all that. I tried Active Directory. I don't need to try other authentication systems. You just try to cut corners, or like app server. That's my failure initially. App server I thought app servers, I worked on WebLogic, WebSphere initially. Those are the app servers at that time, very popular. Now Tomcat and other things came up. I used to be like WebLogic used to be okay. WebSphere, I'm like not very confident at that time. I was not never used to go into details. How do I change it? How do I try different installations? Is it differ like on different operating systems? Will something not work if I try to do a distributed installation in a Linux environment? I I missed a few things there. I should have done it. It's not complex. It's just the fear of like, oh, it's very complex kind of fear. So don't scratch the surface. Don't just look at the UI and say like, oh, I have done my test cases and I'm good now. That might not affect you immediately, but in long run, it definitely will. If you don't try to go in depth, you'll be used to that kind of thing, and it's hard to get back. Not questioning at this time, it's like you can question whatever you want. No one will judge you. Any stupid question that we ask, it's like no question is stupid actually. Um, and only testing what we see it, not using tools. Okay, I have like app server. Can I use profilers? Can I use memory management tools, sniffers? So if it's like web-based tools, can I use the inspect? Inspect is your friend there, right? Or Google dev tools or your there are so many of them. So try to use like UX. There is a tool. Yesterday I was reading Ajay's tips. There is a nice tool for UX. Checking the UX things, it will give you the feedback. You don't have to read all the things from UX, the books and all. They help a lot. I missed some of this initially because I don't know. Now that there is a big communities, we don't have communities at that time. These communities really help there. They give you a lot of inputs on that tools. So that's like a good thing. My chat scrolling is not working, so I'm not seeing there. And then all of this, even denials, so feel good things. Oh, I'm a functional tester. I'm hired for this. Why should I go into the details of language that's been used and understand JavaScript, understand Java, or it's like I know product well. Why should I? Why should I go get into the Java? Why should I understand it? If you don't understand Java, you don't know how the. I mean, I'll go the other way. If you understand Java, you'll understand how the exception handling happens, how the memory management happens in Java, or how it does the garbage collection, how it does all things, all the configurations. So you can provide a lot of informations. You can see like you can differentiate between a real failure and a failure because of some configuration change. So those are all the denials that comes with it. I did it many times, saying that, oh, I'm doing my work, I have done this test cases, I'm done. That's very easy. If you say at one like at a point, testing seems easy, but if you go into detail, there are a lot of things. So everyone says testing is easy because it's like whenever someone scratches the surface, they seem feel testing is easy. If you go deep, there are like hundreds of things. So these are the denials that comes with this, all these things. And like one thing that helped me is like, yeah, but actually the some of the things to remember, and then I'll tell you the one thing that helped me. Uh, Understand the language and tool. There is no other go. You can't say I don't want to learn anything because I'm a functional tester. It helps a lot. Anything that understand the tools used, technologies used. Uh, you can clearly see the difference. The way you think, the way you test, everything will change. Think of overall quality and not just bugs. Even now, I see like, oh, I have to log bugs. I don't want to share test cases to developer because they will log bugs and I can't find bugs. I hear that even now. It's not about bugs, it's about overall quality. If you can stop one bug during development, that saves a lot of everyone's time. We can use that effectively for a lot of things. So all the time, think of quality, quality, quality. What is it for customers, and not like what are my bugs? Test what you don't see. I talked about this. What you see in UI is what is there in functional spec. But sometimes ask the question, okay, how does a customer use AirMeet? What is the main functionality? So think of it from there. When there are like 1,000 people in the conference, did I test for that load? Did I test for 10,000 pair charts messages per minute, per second? That's all should be test what you don't see. Think. And remember, we are in here for a marathon. 2 decades I'm here, and I have to go few more years. Every one of you, don't think today I'm fine, I don't have to think about all this. That will boomerang. Might not be in the first stage, it will come back to you in the second stage. So just keep learning every day. Ajay's last slide, I think. Keep learning every day. That's what. One thing that helped me really, this I really like this Parkinson law. I like some of the laws. I keep referring to them whenever I'm chatting with anyone. Also, because it's easy to remember. So what Parkinson law says is work expands to fill the time available for its completion. So if a task takes 2 hours, and if you are given 2 hours, 2.5 hours, you'll complete that. If you are given 3 hours, you'll complete 99%, 95% in 2 hours, and then the remaining 2-3% you'll slowly complete it in the next 1 hour. And same if you're given 8 hours, you'll complete 70% in the first 2 hours, and then the procrastination happens and all that. So remember, if you remember this law, then you can manage your things effectively and say like, okay, I know I have this many things. This takes this much time. How do I prioritize things and all? Okay. I'm going a little fast because there are like different things. And um, seniors principle, this is like the next stage, right? I combined both seniors and principal just to save some time. And this is also like they're like kind of together. That's why I like combined it. So uh, by now, we have gained some expertise. Like I'll be known for some tools. If some like people will come to you for a specific questions, like specific areas, whether it's product or like tools or anything at all. And persistence is the key. I'll talk about this. Why I mentioned that. This is where we lose focus. Generally, I see like this is the stage people lose focus, and that will bring them down. That's like short failure thing. So keep your feet on the ground. If you're too good or like whatever it is, just keep continue doing what you're doing. Continue learning things. Be persistent in all things that you do, and then broaden your thinking. Not just like this is not the stage where you say like how many bugs I'm logging, how many scripts I'm writing. This is about how do I fix things to make them more effective, more efficient. How do I get to root cause and fix the root cause and not the test that is failing? Instead of rerunning the test, I'll fix the root cause. Think of it from customer perspective. These are all the things that's expected from this role. Test cases is not the expectation from this role. They're all there, they're all needed, but that's not the expectation. If you're still in that stage, stuck in that stage, that's like short failure kind, right? So let's see the failures and denials, slipping. So when you reach this, you are into 3 years, 4 years, mid 25s, mid 30s in your career, right? You start, you'll feel that boredom. You're doing like 3 years, maybe sometimes you're doing the same thing, and so many things change in your personal life during this time. Also, you might be getting married, kids, and all that coming in slowly. Seen so many slipping into that comfort zone. Oh, I'm okay, I'm doing okay, I don't have to try, I have other things, and slowly start procrastination. uh, that's where this stage, that's the number one reason for failure. It feels okay at that time, but there are like another 2 decades to go for you from here, at least, right? And I know sometimes it's like you feel like, if you're an expert, if you gain some expertise, that aggressiveness or that thing kicks in. That also brought some people, brings it down. I have seen this, I have experienced, I have done that initially. That doesn't help. Comparisons, I know everything attitude. And if you're stereotyped for specific tasks, that's also a wrong thing. For example, you're working a long time in QTP. It's like, okay, this is a QTP guy. He cannot do any other things. That's like, again, you should be able to try it. If you're a QTP, or if you're thrown Selenium, yes, I'll do it. I've seen people fighting, saying that no, I will use only QTP, or I will use only Perl. Uh, I don't care about the business case. So that's again. Sometimes you have to go with the business. Things will change. Change is the only thing that's constant. I keep talking about that. That's the only thing constant in your life. Uh, Everyone is afraid of change. I am afraid of change, but I will embrace that, and I will go anywhere, because that's what business needs at that point. Blinders, just like thinking, I talked about it, thinking of just the test case, not like how can I fix the framework from being flaky, instead of adding a retry for this, or adding some more timeout of like 500 milliseconds or a 1 second, and applying that same short-term bandages, right? And all this comes with, again, the denials. I'm completing my work, whatever my story is, so it's okay, I'm good, I don't have to go deep and fix it now. It's not like so urgent, I can do it later. That later never comes in. Or it's my manager, process improvements is my manager's job, architect's job, it's not me. I mean, you have to show that to become a manager or architect. You can't do it like, you can't say I'll do it once I go into that role. I see this comparison so many times. I'm not paid enough, so it's okay. This is what, and worked for my pay kind of, or like got less hike. Those things doesn't help. Though will be, but they are like all the denials. My work is not recognized. It will, anyone at all. It will be recognized that there is no other go. No one wants to lose a good employee. So it will be recognized. So those are the denials, and see a few things that will help. So once you slip into that comfort zones, it's very hard to get out of it. If you are there for 1 year, if you're only doing some types of things, only functional testing, only using one tool, and if you want to come out of it, if the world changed, it's like very, the next immediate zone is the fear zone, where you find lot of excuses and then go back immediately to comfort zone. This is a very popular one. Most of you might have seen it, but whoever has not seen it, that self confidence, it takes a lot of time to get that confidence back. Seek help, talk to others, ask questions. There are so many in the communities. Now we have a lot of good communities, a lot of people that are ready to help, and so like, just ask and they will help. Anyone will be happy to help. They might be busy once in a while, but ultimately, no one will say no. So just ask help. And once you cross that zone, you'll definitely learn. I had this so many times. It's like UI automation is, sorry, web automation is like a scary thing for me few years back. I was like, why can't I learn this? I will learn. I will learn. Now I'm doing it. It's like I'm a Windrunner guy, Silk guy, and then QTP guy, and that's where I slipped into my comfort zone. And then I said, like, I will get back. It took some time, but you will get back. Don't give it up. Never give it up. Okay, and it's not difficult. And few, just one more thing to remember: you'll have a lot of things always. Every day I have like 10, 20 tasks at any point of time, even today. So what helped me was I always look at them like and do this effect versus impact thing, right? So if you have like 5 tasks or 10 tasks in hand, always pick the one which is like uh, low effort and high impact. That's like pick that, but you can't do all of them that way. There are some which require some effort, 6 months, 8 months, 1 year. There are some big projects. You need those big projects. So take one or two big projects, they'll take a year, and then take some quick wins, small projects which will get you like quick wins every 2 months. And like every 2 months you show something, and 1 year, in 1 year it's like a bank kind of thing. One, two comes in. Uh, if you plan that accordingly, that really goes well. That worked well when I did these mistakes like, oh, whatever comes in, I'll take it. No prioritization, stupid way of doing things. And then when I keep reading books, articles, and all, I see all this and say, shit, okay, someone knows how to do it. So this is the way to prioritize. This is required. When you're in principal role, you'll be thrown so many stuff every day. Just uh, remember this, and it will help. Okay. The This is like the next stage, very tricky stage. I took me months to adjust to this stage. You have like become a manager, you are like your efforts are all recognized. You become manager, architect, but you still go and do some hands-on, write some test cases. That's not your job at all. But there are many who just goes there and says like, oh, I can do it easily, or let me do it, it feels me good, it makes me feel good. That's not your job at all. It's like empowering the teams, helping them, making them like you, because you're good, you're recognized. Help the team get the best of the team, bring in efficiency everywhere altogether. That's the main threats to process, not like show my coding skills, show my power, show my things. I think Ajay mentioned manager is not about power. Um, so those are the traits, the failures, denials. If I had to pick one, the hiring thing, so many times I did this mistake, lowering the bar. I'll talk about this in my next slide, how I did that mistake. And when you are initially manager or lead, like you collect data. I mean, you need data to make things more efficient, make save things, save money for the company. Anything you need data. But I used it in wrong way. The number of bugs logged and all this. So I looked at wrong data many times. Uh, Data is powerful. Data is important, but data is a pointer. You should, if you use it the wrong way, everything goes wrong. The team won't be happy also. Not just team, it's like the whole thing. The quality goes wrong, everything goes wrong. And you should always think win-win. Think of it like, how do I win, how do my team win, how does the company win. Company comes first, and then team, and then you. That's, it's always the win-win situation, not like how do my framework win. um, yeah, again, the denials part is like, you say like, oh, this is the niche technology, no good candidate, so whatever is available, I just hired. I'll talk about it in the next slide, how that happens. Or like you don't talk to your employees in the coaching mode. It's always task related. Oh, how is this task, how are you doing this, how is it happening. It should always be coaching people. Coaching takes time. You should talk to them, listen to them, understand what they need. And you should understand the difference. When do I mentor them? When do I coach them? When do they require a mentor? You can't say like I don't do coaching because I'm too busy with other things, deliveries. That will not affect you today. Tomorrow it will affect long term. Think long term always. Look beyond, not today's tasks, right? Um, Team takes it like I can't do anything. This is the team I was given. There are so many denials that always we hear. Right, 446. So this is what I was talking about, like hiding grooming mistakes. So how I did my mistakes was like initially when you start the interview process, this is your bar. This is where it will be, right? We'll hire bar for your hiring depending on your JD responsibilities of the candidate. And you interview first candidate, you find him this way, second, third, fourth, fifth, and slowly inside your mind the bar slightly starts slipping
Really
down.
sorry to interrupt, but we have
And
last 2 minutes left.
okay,
So
I'm
maybe
done. Just
you could okay.
yeah, I'm done. Just 30 seconds. I'll complete, Lalit. Thank you. And the bar slips, and then you find it and you hide it. That this will kill you. Don't do that. And always strip all noises in the resume to avoid biases. Okay. Sometimes I see a PhD resume or MTech. Oh, MTech PhD, and I don't try to dig deep. That affected also. So first, they're all good, important, but first know what you want and then go into next things. Metrics I talked about in lot of different places. They're just indicators. Take them and then understand what it is. If you see $100, don't say that coding was done bad. There are so many things. Maybe the requirements are like not given properly. Metrics are important. They give you data without emotions. They are important to provide legitimacy, and investigate is the right response for metrics. Last thing, last slide. Peter principle, don't worry about it. People might talk about it. It says like in a hierarchy, every employee tends to rise to his level of incompetence. There are many ways to beat it. Don't worry. Just if you start doing every step of your career, learning, changing, adapting, this doesn't apply. So don't worry about this. Okay, Lalit. I think I went a little fast towards the end. I'm open for questions. Sorry, I didn't look at charts. I have to pull it.
Don't worry, it's fine. So I will let you pick the question, Shini, if you want. It's in Q&A channel that you can see.
How do you handle this scenario from Dinesh? Not getting satisfied and lack of confidence, even after learning and acquiring enough knowledge. So that's a natural thing that keeps happening. That depends on the personality type. Some people, even though they know a lot of things, Dinesh, it happened with me also many times. It's like if I want to participate in the community, I say like I know very little. There are like a lot of good people. Why should I be like let them answer kind of thing? But just get out of that feeling. Everyone has something important to give. um, just like if you keep learning, let that feeling out and share whatever you know. And everything, some things might be small things, but someone will benefit. Someone, there might be 10 people, 20 people, 100 people. Everything is important. Just keep sharing. Don't worry about what people say, don't worry about what people say, what people think.